Hello and welcome to Hope After. This is a space for couples navigating the impact of pornography on their marriage, and everything we share here comes from lived experience. You see, we've walked this road ourselves, and what we offer has been shaped through the healing and rebuilding God has led us through. As scripture reminds us, God restores what has been broken, and we're called to walk with others as that restoration unfolds. So this isn't theory, it's truth, lived out and shared carefully with you. Today we're talking about something that many couples are quietly told about the healing, and that is that it needs to happen separately. That she goes away and heals her hurt, and he goes away and fixes his addiction. And somehow, once that's done, over time, the marriage will come back together. But what if that's not actually how restoration works? So you might recognize this. Have you found yourselves almost living parallel healing journeys where the wife is doing the emotional healing work and the husband is trying to change his behavior? And even if all that is happening successfully, something still feels disconnected. That feeling of waiting, hoping that enough time, enough effort will somehow bring you back together and everything will be okay. Jez, did it ever feel like we were working, doing the work? I was doing some therapy work, you were doing the NoFap and work on your addiction, but we weren't necessarily rebuilding together.
Absolutely, yeah. I felt at the time that, we were doing the correct thing. I was trying to sort myself out. You was trying to sort yourself out. But I don't know, we were still that distance apart. And, I was wondering, what's going to happen is how on earth are we going to pull this back in? Is Joanne going to trust me and believe in what I'm doing? Am I going to believe in Joanne that she's healing herself? I felt that there was still something missing.
That's right. And that distance did seem to grow. And what we found was the more healing that Jez was doing and the more healing that I was doing, we were kind of growing apart. Jez was giving me space, I was giving him space, and that was perhaps a mistake because individual healing does matter, but it doesn't rebuild the marriage. The rupture has happened between you. So therefore, it makes absolute sense that the repair also has to happen there between you both. So whilst time apart is helpful, it doesn't rebuild safety. When betrayal happens, something very specific is broken, and that's security. The place that once felt safe, your husband, has now become a cause of pain. And the wife's nervous system registers that as the person I relied on is now the source of hurt. So the wife's system goes into protection mode. She becomes hyper aware, over alert, scanning for risk, and understandably, she begins to pull back from anything that feels vulnerable. And for me, that looked like emotional distance, numbness, loss of desire and joy. And I was completely guarded, not because I didn't care, but because I was just protecting myself. Jez, did you notice how my behaviour changed?
Yeah, I did. I think, first of all, I couldn't understand that at first. I thought you were just pulling away from me. And then I just guess really all you were trying to feel was safe.
Yeah, that's right. So if Jez had stopped using the porn, why wasn't that enough? Why wasn't stopping porn the same as rebuilding trust? Why is it that once he'd stopped, I didn't automatically trust him again? Well, it's important to say that stopping the behavior really matters. That's important, like really high up there on the list of things that needs to be done. But on its own, it doesn't rebuild connection. It doesn't rebuild safety, because safety is not built on absence of the behavior alone. It's built on consistent felt experience. And that takes time. There's often a delay between stopping the behavior and then the trust rebuilding again. So, what actually helps rebuild safety? One of the things that we really encourage couples to do is to have specific, thoughtful check ins with one another. Not, are you okay? But something more intentional. Jez, this is something that you've worked on quite a lot. Do you want to share with the men a kind of typical scenario of a check in?
Yes, of course. A rehearsed example would probably sound something a bit like this. I was thinking about the other night, you were sharing something and I got defensive. I'm really sorry. I can see that mattered and they didn't handle it very well at all. How are you feeling about that now? Can we revisit it?
And that's lovely because it shows me that Jez is aware of what happened. It shows ownership and it shows that he cares. And that is the very beginning stages of rebuilding trust again.
Yeah, this was something that I found extremely hard to learn, to notice moments I'd missed and come back to them.
Yeah, it's not something that you're kind of taught how to do when you're starting your marriage. But often, when there's been something that's shared or something that's said and it hasn't been responded to or received well, what tends to happen as couples is you brush it under the carpet. Sometimes that's intentional. You don't want to revisit that awkward pain. Sometimes it's accidental. Other things come up. But if the husband is intentionally checking in, then that shows the wife that he is aware of her emotions, that he is showing leadership in a correct way. And it's showing that this man really cares about me. And that starts to help make the woman feel safe again. The other thing that's really important is the consistent, steady presence. The woman needs to know that her environment is almost predictable. So when she speaks about her pain, the instinct for many men is to explain or defend or minimize or fix, usually. But any of those responses can feel like you're not with me in this. It's really important that when the woman is sharing how she's feeling, that the husband doesn't take on the role of trying to make her feel better. The husband's role when the wife is sharing is to help her feel heard. Because when someone feels truly heard, their nervous system begins to settle.
Yeah, I had to learn to stay and listen, and it was really uncomfortable at times.
I remember one conversation I had with Jez when I said to him how I was explaining how hurt I was, that I was really hurting. And Jez replied with,
Yeah, I'm really hurting as well.
and whilst that was the truth, my face just dropped because all he'd done was compare my hurt with his hurt. He hadn't listened to me. I didn't feel heard. I just felt this isn't about me now, this is about you. So I just then clammed up. I stopped sharing just because of that one tiny incident. So it really takes a lot of work for the man to really listen and not to try and defend, deflect, minimize, or fix.
Yeah, and it's a real tough one, that is, because like Joanne said, we're trying to share our hurt along with hers, and actually it's nothing to do with our hurt. We're the one that's caused the hurt. We want to fix it, but we need to do it in a special way.
Yeah, and that is not when the woman is sharing her emotion. It's a different type of time or check in. So we will talk about when the right time is for you to share with the woman. But this is all about making her feel safe and helping her to rebuild trust so that you can come back together again as husband and wife. The wife needs permission to feel honestly. And this part really matters. You don't need to force feelings that you don't have yet. If you feel distant or unsure or guarded, that doesn't mean you don't love him. It means you're still waiting for safety. And it's okay to say to your husband, I can see you're trying and I really appreciate that, but I'm not fully there yet. Please don't give up. That's really important because it signals to your husband that he's on the right tracks, that you acknowledge what he's doing, and that the consistency that you need to rebuild that trust and safety is working. It's just you're not quite there yet. And that's okay. As couples begin to work this way, something will start to shift, not all at once, but in quiet moments, because it's noticeable when there's a conversation where he stays present, a moment where the wife feels fully seen, and a repair that actually lands. And slowly the wall begins to soften. We'd like to give you some conversation moments for you to have a think about in your week. For the man, when your wife shares pain, do you stay present or do you move away? Do you find a distraction? Do you try to minimize it or defend or compare? Are you trying to fix the problem or are you listening and trying to understand? For the wife, what helps you feel seen and supported? And can you communicate honestly where you are without feeling any pressure? Betrayal activates the body's threat response, and emotional safety must be re-established through repeated, predictable experience. Consistent presence reduces hypervigilance over time, and repair happens through shared interaction, not separate effort. Betrayal trauma isn't something you heal away from each other. You're in a marriage together. It's something you can heal through new experiences with each other. Now, if you're recognizing this dynamic, feeling like you're both trying but not quite reconnecting, our Hope After pathways designed to guide you through this together, not just individual change. We encourage that and we walk you through that too, but it's about relational rebuilding. You can explore it at hope-after.com. Healing doesn't happen by stepping back and hoping time will fix it. It happens when you begin to meet each other again in different ways. Thank you for being here with us. If this episode helped bring clarity, you're welcome to share it with someone who might need it too. And wherever you are in your journey, there is still a way forward.